Calvin's understanding of political theology and his understanding of the church was actually unique and profoundly innovative, even in his own day. There were other models of church and state or political theology that dominated the day. You had the papal model, which said that the Pope is the vicar of Christ, and all power, therefore, is given to the Pope, and he wields the spiritual sword himself, and he gives the temporal sword over to the state, which they then wield somewhat at the Pope's direction. Of course, the Reformers, the Protestants, rejected that wholesale, but they tended to overreact by going to the other extreme of saying, well, if anything, the state should have all of this power, and the church should just focus on preaching, on teaching, and on the sacraments. And so, while Luther had worked out a two kingdoms theology, for Luther, the spiritual kingdom really was just the word and the sacraments. It never took any sort of social life or expression. The Reformed tradition before Calvin, most influenced by the Zurich reformers Zwingli and Bullinger, identified the godly church with the godly city or the godly state. They didn't see any need for anything like church discipline or the diaconate. For them, the church, they really wanted to limit the church to these narrowly spiritual functions and leave the rest to the state. So what I learned is that for Calvin, the two kingdoms theology, which I'll explain what that is in a moment, the two kingdoms theology became the basis, the foundation for Calvin saying, no, the church itself has to have a significant social presence. The kingdom of God has to take concrete social expression in the world. And it's not enough just to have preaching and the sacraments. We need to have church discipline. We need to have elders who are making sure that our lives actually reflect the righteousness of the kingdom. We need to have a diaconate. We need to have deacons who make sure that we're taking care of the poor and in that way giving expression to the righteousness of the kingdom.